All right, now Thomas is going to break down the fundamentals of his golf swing, which I'm very interested in. Start with your grip, Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, I interlock to start with, which is, came about when I was a kid. I wasn't really strong enough to keep my hands together. Interlocking grip, I think, it's a bit more active grip. So you fight some certain things in your golf swing, but it's a nice grip to have. I found it extremely difficult to have the Varden grip and have that overlap. It was a difficult thing for me as a kid. But the other thing is, and which is really important, I think, in the grip, and where a lot of people go wrong, is that the golf club is, for me, supposed to lie in the fingers, in both hands. So when you put the golf club down, it actually goes across the fingers like this, and you wrap your fingers around the grip, and then you put your hand all the way around the grip like this. And it's exactly the same in the other hand. It's in the fingers that the golf club can then, when you open up, it actually lies down the fingers like this, and then you wrap your hands around it. That's where the grip should be. It should always be in your fingers. It should never be up in your hand. Never in the palm of your hand. Comes too weak, you're not strong enough to hold on to the golf club. And that's, for me, the biggest part of gripping the golf club.
And that's a 7-iron that Thomas has. All right, so you got the grip. Now I'd like for you to talk about posture.
When you talk about posture, I think fundamentally, the one thing that people do, and especially amateur golfers do wrong, is that they stand mostly on their heels. So what the golf club will do when you stand over the ball is it will follow the balance in your feet. So if you stand too much on the heel, it'll tend to go too much on the inside. And if you stand too much on your toes, it'll tend to go too much on the outside. That would be for an amateur golfer. You can cheat that if you're a very good golfer. That's where you really want to stand over the golf ball. So I feel like I get up on my toes and I just let the heels touch the ground. And there, I'm in a very strong position. I feel balanced down through the sides. So through my shoulders, through my hips, down through my legs, outside of my kneecaps, into my feet.
All right, let's get into the turn, because there's a lot of things that could happen with your arms and hands there. What do you think about when you take the club away?
Well, I've always had a problem of kind of dipping my left shoulder down a little bit. So one of the great exercises I got taught was to actually swing without hitting golf shots, but standing over and then do it cross-handed. So one of the great things about doing cross-handed is that the left shoulder very easily comes up to a full turn. So if you stand and actually swing a few swings cross-handed, you can really feel that left shoulder stretching across and getting up. And I think that's the important thing, that it gets up and across. And then once I've done that 3 or 4 times, I just try and redo that golf swing, holding it normally, so I can get that full turn in my shoulders.
I noticed on that cross-handed drill that your right arm, it really sets your right arm in place, correct?
Yeah, so one of the hard things I think in golf, and a lot of golfers find, is that we find it very easy to do this on the way back, which, golf coaches, some golf coaches would call it primary plane. And then we find it very easy, if we put our hands here, we find it very easy to turn. But the change from here to what is called a secondary plane up here is the one thing that people find extremely difficult, because that's when the right arm turns and folds. But when you do it cross-handed, the great thing about swinging a few cross-handed is that the left arm gets above the right on the way back, and it pushes that right arm down and it folds perfectly. So it's a great exercise for a lot of things, for your shoulder turn, but also for folding your arm.
Good stuff as always.